jokes, yeah. So like
I'm like
obviously
Arby's.
say something better than I said, but like it's that fine line between like straight up just saying go fuck yourself and just being awkward.
That really is like part of the reason I was hesitant to even say anything about it on social media, like advertising that I was going to do this, because I was just waiting for the outpouring of people who know me being like, "What, you? Like, you're not funny. Like, why would you do that?" But
Why would you
fuck
think
you.
they'd say that?
I don't know, because I'm very self conscious and self deprecating. So I'm like, yeah, like people don't need to know about this. I'd rather just do it, and like hopefully it goes well, which it did. So I'm happy it did.
I gotta say, in general, like I agree, but for a different reason. Like I never actually cared too much for having people I know come to watch me perform, whether it be music or whether it be not that I've ever performed comedy, but like whatever it would be, I would never feel comfortable. Like even with our podcast here, like I don't go out trying to tell the people I already know about it. Like they can hear my bullshit like whenever we talk, like I don't need to like tell them. And I don't need people just like because they know me telling me that something is better than it is. Like I would rather grow things naturally, and have people who have no connection to me whatsoever, like be the judge of that, and also more importantly, because I also myself like kind of, struggle thinking too much like, oh, how's this person going to react to it? What's this person going to think? I don't want them to see, you know what I mean? Like, I feel that it takes me out of my performance because I'm not allowed to create a new character on stage because I'm thinking about the people in the audience who know that that's not who I really am. And then I feel fake. And anytime I feel fake, I shut down whatever it is that I'm doing. No matter what it is, the moment I feel fake, it's like I'm not doing that anymore,
I'm 100% the same way, and like I will say, I had like 10 people who said they were gonna be there that didn't show up, and honestly, I'm glad they didn't, because like that only made it better. That knowing that I was performing for mostly a room of strangers made it 10 times better than it would have been if I knew that like 15 people that I knew were sitting in the back.
Yeah, heck yeah. And then like you're feeling, and not that I can put like thoughts in your head, but like for me it would be then you're feeling also that you want to like make it worth that these people came out to see you, and then you start building expectations in your mind, and it all just instead of just being able to go out there. And I think an interesting thing about telling jokes is like that's how a lot of people ingratiate themselves into a new environment anyways. Like if you were to go to a bar and you wanted to start to talk to new people, it'd be pretty smart to have some good jokes in your pocket, So like you got that and it's all new people. You can kind of think like, all right, I can just go up here and I can just pretend I'm talking to new people. And if they don't laugh, I can walk away and I don't have to worry about it again. Instead of thinking like, oh man, all these people who know me now know that I just said these jokes on stage or whatever.
Yeah, because like if you tell those jokes to a stranger, it's a lot more inconsequential if they don't laugh than if you're trying to please the people that you like want to impress.
Yeah. And I think maybe like it's interesting because some people do really well by having a bunch of support from their like family and friends, but I've always had the experience. Yeah, but I'm just saying there are people out there though, like who succeed in a lot of things and say that. So I'm just trying to like I'm kind of running into a thought that I've not really thought out that much. So I'm not going to try to ramble on it too much, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But like a lot of people do thrive on that. All I was going to actually end that with is, that's never been my experience. My experience is that it actually ends up like either making me get in my head about what other people are thinking, or it makes me lazy because they're telling me about how great I am when I actually need to do like a whole bunch more work. So it just
Right.
doesn't. It's never been that positive for me, and I wonder how people who have family who are always like, "Oh, you're so great," and they use that to get better. I don't understand that thought process. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I think it's great to have support from your loved ones and close friends and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not. However, if you really want a true mark of how well you're doing, go perform in front of strangers and see what their reaction is, because that's how you find out whether you're doing all right or not.
Heck yeah. Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, everybody finds their like motivation in different places. I've often thought sometimes that I'm actually like a social vampire, because sometimes I feel like I'm seeking out adversaries so that I can find people to prove wrong. And then once I've like, burnt up that fuel, like I find another person to piss off so I can like prove them wrong, like just keep fucking going from there. And like, that's not a great way to, handle anything.
It's not terribly healthy as far as, that's a good way to make strangers, but all the same. Yeah, man. Like,
I'm not saying I'm proud of it. I'm just saying it's like, you do self-reflection and you start to think about like the way you behave in certain situations. Like, I don't seek out this behavior. It's just all of a sudden I realize that like,
but it's some of
the best moments of inspiration and hard work that I've ever had have come right after I've destroyed relationships with people that at one point I cared about. And I just started to see a pattern. So I'm not like looking for this pattern, but over years you start to recognize these things. You do it 3 or 4 times and it's like, holy shit, I really got a problem here,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, you're 100% correct that is not a healthy way to keep relationships, but all the same, I can't say that I necessarily disagree with what you're doing. Like, it's not that I don't think it's wrong, but I can't talk too much shit about it because I do the same thing myself. Like maybe not as voraciously as you do, but all the same, I have definitely found myself in the same situations over the years.
Well, like, I think, and this is something I actually just recently, I'll admit, like in the last couple of weeks, have started to come to terms with to a degree as well, about that whole idea, is truly what it is that I do want out of that, like, relationship, whether it be with a friend or whether it be romantically, anything, like I do want out of it, but I know that I can at times be so wishy-washy, and like this is all subconscious though, so like it's like things are just like chugging along and I'm getting more and more angry inside about them, and like I want to say something, I want to like rectify the situation, but I'm not going to put it out there. But then it's like, okay, I just keep watching how this person is, treating me or how we're treating each other. I shouldn't make it all about like that I'm the victim in the situation, but I see how it plays out, and then eventually it gets to a point where I blow the fuck up. And I actually, like, what I'm trying to say here is I didn't actually mean that it's not healthy for like it obviously isn't healthy for building relationships, but these are relationships that I actually want to blow up. I want them to be out of my life. I want to be done with it. It's just that the way that I go about it isn't like healthy. It's not nice. It's not positive. It doesn't bring anybody to a better place. It gives me like a feeling of regret about the way I use my words, and it makes the person I use those words against feel like shit. So nothing is gained from this transaction, but I do get a clean break from these people that I don't want to deal with anymore. So, like, and again, like, these aren't things I think about. This is me looking back at a pattern of behavior over, like, several years. I don't do this purposely. I don't seek out this shit. I just see what happens, and then you look back and you go, oh, yeah, I got some fucking weird shit bouncing around in my brain, and then, like, and I'm acting in these ways.
Yeah, I can see that, and like I don't want to, by saying this, come across like I fucking know what I'm talking about at all. But
well, you know what you're talking about for you. That's what's
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
yeah. But you know, it is just as far as like you and I have talked at length, both on and off the podcast, about being natural born performers, so to speak. And there is nothing better to get those feelings out than to just like let it out on a group of strangers that you don't know. And you know, that's why I'm happy to start, you know, be starting doing what I'm doing.
hell yeah,
because I don't want to I don't want to alienate any more fucking people that I'm close to in my life. I've run out of those relationships that I'm like okay with losing. So now is the time to just start talking shit to strangers.
So back to how we got onto this whole like philosophy. You know, even though we started this out, you know, just talking about what happened with your performance, how good it went, and all that tonight. We were talking about this girl outside and this other comedian who performed, you know, and like acting around people. So yeah, just to bring it all full circle, like maybe it's just easier, like to not like. She goes, oh, okay. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, just be an ass from the get-go.
What did I say?
Like, just be an ass from the get-go, I think. You know? Like, then nobody's, like, wondering. It's like you don't want to go into a job and, like, show them all your skills before you've gotten a raise. Because then they're just going to make you do all that shit and pay you the same amount of money they've been paying you the whole fucking time, you know? So yeah, you just start out an asshole, they're like, oh, like, it's like Don Rickles. I was watching Don Rickles I'm sorry, you had something to say. Just let me say this really quick. I was watching Don Rickles, an old Johnny Carson episode last night. He's such a fucking dick, but he can flip a switch so quickly to being the biggest asshole, just like making jokes at people's expense, to then being like the kindest sounding person. And I think like, man, that dude really found a balance. So yeah, that's
absolutely.
Yeah.
And like the only caveat I wanted to tack onto that was like, I want people to take me at my words and not my inflection, because like I truly meant thank you. I really appreciate your kind words. You know, like about saying my set was good. I'm sorry if I came across that like, you know, like if I was like, I don't even know, pompous or standoffish or whatever, you know, whatever, by saying that. But for the love of God, just if you want to understand me, take me at my word, not my inflection, for fuck's sake.
Well, it's kind of a, you know, it's kind of an interesting thing because we like to piece together the puzzles in between the words that people are actually saying more than we like to actually listen to the words. So like think of it like as a text message that hasn't been answered in 5 hours. Where do our minds like to go? We like to think about everything that the other person might be possibly thinking about us, rather than like the text was just left at that point. They'll get back to us eventually, you know? So we just fill in the gap. So like instead of listening to somebody's words, we look at their body language. And instead of thinking like maybe they had to itch their ass, or maybe they had some gas and needed to burp and they made a funny look on their face, we draw or like maybe you're stressed out because you just did your first comedy show. We draw all these conclusions as to why a person is acting this way.
You just brought me to the realization that I am a walking text message. Like, that's how I live. Like, I say things with, you know, genuine feeling, but like I'm such a fucking basket case when it comes to talking to people that it just never comes across the right way.
But you know, I think the important thing though is this is where I'll go back to and not trying to myself sound like I know everything, but where I've become open with admitting these things about like feeling like a social vampire and like noticing these bad habits I've had with like dealing with other people and being able to talk about them like openly it's kind of like coming to terms with like